Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Pele Yoetz. Today's topic is one where all of us, for sure this is like a pendulum, we either go one way or to the other. It's like one extreme to the other. And we're talking about rebuke. Now, rebuke is an art that's for sure has been long lost in our generation. I think the sages were so great in handing down a rebuke, and they did it in the right way. And it's funny because in our generation, we almost feel like we don't want to call anyone out, especially in this day and age. It's such a PC world. Has v'shalom, you tell anyone the emet about anything that they're doing, and it's like the whole community will jump down you. All of a sudden, it becomes very frum, and they're all masters of the chavetime, and oh, we can't say that, we can't do this. And then the flip side of that is that sometimes we take it to the extreme and we just go like way off the cliff, and we go way past what we should be doing. We pass the Rubicon. And so it's very hard. Very few people know how to go right into the middle and rebuke somebody properly. I wish I had that gift. Sometimes you have to measure your words and you have to just take a step back. And that seems to be the key. But I find oftentimes that even with ourselves, even within rebuking ourselves, very difficult, and mostly with spouses and children. This is an area where we oftentimes, I want to say 9 times out of 10, we get this wrong. So this is a very important area, and it's actually a very short paragraph. And it says, rebuke is necessary when reprimanding wrongdoers who he feels will respond appropriately. However, it is better to speak softly, for soft speech will break a bone, as brought down in Mishlei 25:15. Whereas rebuke will cause anger in the one rebuking, and controversy and argumentativeness from the one being rebuked. Now, ironically enough, the Ramban, Ramban, who happens to be from the same town as my family was in Spain, he wrote a wonderful letter, which I'm going to try. If you listen to this on YouTube, I'm going to try to link the link below. He wrote a wonderful letter about this topic of anger, and he actually brings this issue up about the tone of voice, which I think a lot of us can relate to. The tone of voice, especially whoever it is, if somebody's speaking to you, especially like if you're in the workplace, right, and your employer tells you something, or your coworker tells you something, and oftentimes it's the way they're saying it that really rubs you the wrong way. So this is what he's really talking about, and a lot of times we have this tone of voice, and sometimes our body language also. We're trying to say a message, but everything else about us is saying something different. So again, not so easy. So it says, not every man is willing to accept admonishment. More than ever today, even small children are not very receptive to the rebuke of their father and mother. Can you imagine if he saw what was going on now? I mean, when he wrote this, I can't believe that, they were listening a lot more than they are now. That's for sure. And it says, therefore, this is the correct way that one giving reproach should choose. He should speak softly. His words should be sweet and smoother than oil. He should not speak harshly, rather his mouth should be full of sweetness, especially if he's in front of others. A person should not admonish his friend in the presence of many people, because he will publicly humiliate him and cause him to blanch. About such a person, sages say in Avot 3:11, they say that he has no portion in the world to come. And this is because when you embarrass somebody, it is likened to a murder. It really is, they go white and their cheeks go red. It causes people a lot of times to go off the derech. You'd be surprised how much an embarrassment will really deter somebody from the straight path. So it says, therefore, a person must be very cautious in this matter, especially in the synagogue, due to the added requirements of honor and fear associated with the holy place. Even if he sees his friend making a golden calf, has v'shalom, he should not raise a powerful voice to rebuke him, for he will damage his soul. This is similar to someone who washes his clothes in the sun. The clothes become white and he becomes black. This is the hint of the ashes of the burnt heifer. which purify those who are defiled and defiles those who are pure. So too this person seeks to rectify his friend, yet his friend becomes ruined. And this, this is what we talked about in the beginning. We just don't know how to rebuke people properly. And oftentimes it goes very bad, causes friendships to break up, families to get into fights. Marriages are often ruined. Children are quite, traumatized by this. So it says our sages in Arachin 15b explain the verse in Vayikra 19:17. You will surely reprove your friend and not bear upon him sin. That the condition for the proper fulfillment of the mitzvah of reproof is not to embarrass his friend, and then he will bear no sin. Therefore, if he wants to separate his friend from sin, he must go to him and speak his words with pleasantness, or wait until he finds a private moment and admonish him directly based on his personality and the situation. So that's the other thing too. I think that sometimes, again, we don't take a step back. We don't really assess the situation, and we don't assess the person. There's a very famous saying, know your audience. This is one of those times in your life where you really have to, you can't just go in there charging. You really have to take an assessment, because you can really, this is one area that I think all of us, we can really get this wrong. Even people who are probably what we would think more skilled than us, oftentimes they get this wrong, and they have no idea of the damage that they've caused to a person by the way they've spoken to them, especially if they've done it in front of people. So it says, it is always proper to speak in a low voice and with a soft speech, for this is indicative of humility and submission, as is written in Yeshayahu 29:4. When you are lowered down from the earth, speak. When you are downtrodden, from the dust will be your words. The voice of fools in rebuke is vain, the act of allusion to those who hear them. And see Yirmiyahu 10:15. It causes them confusion and perplexity. The words of sages, however, which are heard in pleasantness, are sweet and well received by those who hear them. So that's the great thing about, that's what I really love about Pele Yoetz, because I don't know, does anybody remember that movie? I don't remember the movie, but it was like, I want the truth. It says, you can't handle the truth. This is kind of like what, Pele Yoetz and all of these books of Musar are. They tell you about yourself in such a way that you're willing to accept it. This is really the example that I think so few people know how to live out and how to execute. This is an example. These books of Musar are so great. I really love them. I cherish them. I know this is not a popular subject. I think if I was talking about, Kugels or eye makeup or, the latest fashions, I think I would have had like 1 million hits. But nevertheless, I really love this. I know very few people can handle the truth, but I love it. I love it because I sometimes I do need to check myself. And sometimes I have to check my ego at the door. So this is a great way for me to do it. And I'm really glad for everyone. I really appreciate everyone who does log on to listen to these lectures. But that's it for today, and I hope we'll all be together again soon. Bezrat HaShem. If you've enjoyed this video or know someone who would, please share it. Tzikku limitzvot.